Hello, everyone. Janine here from the Book Publishing Academy. I am super excited to connect with you all today. I have a very special guest on today's episode. I have Mr. Walt Mckinley, who is a #1 bestselling author, speaker, mentor, coach. Like, he does it all. He's a father, entrepreneur, business owner, amazing friend. And I am just super excited to chat with him today and learn more about his journey and how he became a just dynamic speaker and author. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
And Janine, what's going on? I'm so pumped to be here today. I think this whole journey, you share a lot about it. You talk to other people about it. I've experienced my own, and there's so many different lessons learned that people can take away from conversations like this that can help catapult their success. It doesn't deviate and make them not have to do the work, but it can accelerate the process and success somebody's having. So I'm pumped to jump into this one today.
What up, fam? I'm excited.
Let's go.
So let's just dive right in. Let the listeners and the viewers know a little bit about yourself. Who is Walt?
First of all, I'm a family man. Nothing can ever come before that. I've been married 24 years. I have two beautiful I guess one adult daughter now, one teenage daughter. One's 19 and one's getting ready to turn 17 next month. I was a career military guy. I was started enlisted, became an officer in the military, went into corporate America, did really well there. And about 2 years ago now, I chose to leave the income and security and just the lack of purpose that I really felt on my life behind, which was ironic because we met probably about 6 to 8 months before that moment, and really publish my memoir and focus on becoming a professional speaker. Because although I had spoken my profession for 25 years as an intelligence officer and then as an executive in corporate America, I hadn't ever spoken as my profession. And there really is a different dynamic with the way that you reach people with those things. So it's been this beautiful progression and journey over the last 2 years. And I wouldn't change any of the difficulty and hardship and challenges and fun and blessings that have followed since I chose to really step into my life's purpose and do something that aligned with my soul versus focusing on doing something that aligned with just my pocketbook.
Ooh, well, I'm excited to dive deeper because let me tell you guys, so I met Walt through a mutual friend, one of my best friends, and Walt had been kind of thinking about publishing a book, and we connected here and there, and but he wasn't ready at the time. Tell us about the moment where you said, "Oh, I'm ready. I need to schedule a call with Janine, and I need to figure out this book situation."
You know, it's super funny because we talked about the Book Publishing Academy, and I said, I'll find time on my spare time to do it, which in reality meant I wasn't even going to take a first step towards it.
Yep.
What's crazy is God has a way of moving you in the direction that you've always been meant to go when you're prepared to open up that door that's ready for you to open. And so I'm in corporate America during the PPP loan process and COVID. My work quadrupled. When most people, they were being let go or their hours were being cut, it was opposite for me. And so we went from a relatively good, busy day at work to being overwhelmed and frustrated. And I was working 12, 14-hour days on the computer, on Zoom calls, strategy level meetings before my kids went to school. When they got home from school, I'm still on the computer. And then they went to homeschool not too long after that. So they're doing the whole day. My wife's bringing me lunches, bringing me breakfast, finally telling me, babe, it's dinner. You've been working literally all day. I can't even tell her thank you for bringing me a lunch because I'm sitting here on Zoom calls all day. I'm trying to be the best leader I can to everybody that I'm responsible for. I had a team of about 500 at the time. And I'm trying to be a great husband, and I'm trying to be a great father, and I'm being nothing to anybody. I mean, I'm operating at below zero at that point, and I'm really not doing anything to do some self-care and maintenance on me. And my wife asked me one day, she goes, "What do you want for dinner?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's 5:30. I'm hungry. I make decisions all day. Just make something." And I was kind of just being an ass unnecessarily. And this is what happens when we're in these stressful moments, when we're getting ready to be stretched to do something brand new, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me and she said, "What's wrong with you?" But lovingly. And I just said, I'm not physically or mentally tired anymore. I'm tired in the depths of who I am as a human being. Like I can't even convey to you how tired I am. And about a week after that moment, I had a nervous breakdown. First one in my entire life and last one since then. And really, that was the door that I thought I needed to move into being closed, and the door that was already open for me to walk into being revealed to me. And I feel like, and I say this a lot, God brought me to my knees because the only way I would have stopped long enough to listen was to lose my ability to use this. I was really in a brain fog for 2 months. And when I came to time to get ready to go back to work, my wife said, you know what, babe, I've been begging you to write your memoir for 10 years minimum. You wanted to speak as your profession since I met you 26 years ago. Screw it. Let's just go for it. And she supported my career, so she doesn't work. She's like, we'll figure out the money. We'll sell our house. We'll sell some, whatever we got to do. I want you. And I don't want you to have a heart attack, and I want you to be around. So all the things don't matter. Let's just go for it. If not now, when? You're 44 years old. When? And in that moment, I said, all right, let's go. And we just set out on this amazing journey. And I called you right out, not too long after that. It was probably within a week or two. And I said, okay, I'm in. Let's do it. And we started this whole process with the Book Publishing Academy and this beautiful journey I've been on.
Guys, and it gets better. It gets better. So walk us through. So you ended up leaving corporate America. You took literally the leap of faith.
Yes. I mean, it was jumping off the cliff. People have seen that meme where, you've got the two cliffs on one side and there's this big pit, and everybody thinks that they're going to fall into that pit, and everybody thinks it's going to be, just scary, and you're going to lose everything, and your life's never going to be the same again. And the cool thing is your life will never be the same again, but in all the best ways.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is if you make that jump, you're actually going to find yourself on the other side. You're actually going to be able to make it. Now, it might not be in your timing and what you think it should be for you, but you're going to find a level of happiness that you didn't even know was missing. And so when I chose to leave corporate America, I left 75, 80% of my income on the table. The retirement I got from the military didn't even cover our bills. And we had some money saved and some stuff that we could kind of lean back on, but it wasn't crazy. But I also knew that I needed to invest into myself in this process as somebody who never thought that they would be an author. I thought I'd be a speaker, not an author. And learn from somebody who had been there, done that, got the t-shirt before me, so that I can accelerate the success. And that's why, even though I had just lost my yearly income, no more paychecks coming in, I still took time and invested in the Book Publishing Academy, which was the best decision I ever made, because I think you over deliver value, which you don't see a lot of coaches doing in this kind of an industry. They might deliver value, or a lot of times they under deliver value. Rarely do you meet somebody that over delivers it. But being part of that and learning everything from tooth to tail on what you do, from conceptualizing a book to the marketing aspect at the end of it, really helped me move through the process quicker. It gave me the foundation to do something that I didn't really know how to do, other than sitting down and creatively writing this memoir and putting my stories on paper.
Mm-hmm. What I love about Waltz is that literally overnight. Okay, so he wrote his book, published the book, but like overnight, him and his wife became like, they became marketers. Like they learned everything that I taught them in my academy, and they implemented every single thing along the way. And that is why they're successful today, is because they didn't take shortcuts. They didn't just take a little bit here, take a little bit. No, they like implemented every single thing along the way. And so you ended up being a #1 best-selling author. Tell us a little bit more about that.
It was so cool. I mean, from a vanity perspective, like I really don't give a crap that I'm a #1 best-selling author. Yeah, it's cool, a little notch in the belt. But in respect to getting hired to go speak, it does matter to the people who are going to hire somebody. But the really neat thing is just what I learned about my own journey on the way. I mean, I had a life that movies are made from. Monsters in My House, A True Story is the name of my memoir, because I had been abused by multiple people my entire life. But it wasn't an abuse story. It was truly a triumph story. There's a couple things that happened. One, my sister and I immediately took a trip to some of the places we used to live as kids, just her and I, and we relived some real moments. And she got to let go of a lot of baggage in that moment. Two things I had let go of years before that. But I just really learned through this process of writing my memoir just how powerful of a person that I had become, just how all those experiences actually happened for me, not to me, in order for me to fulfill my destiny, in order for me to really step into my purpose at an extraordinary high level. And it wasn't like I didn't even know how to format a memoir. I didn't know when somebody speaks, you go line for line as a dialogue is happening. The cool thing is, that's what I had you for. You introduced me to editors. You introduced me to artists, these people who literally just crushed it to take what I thought was a pretty good product at the end and make it exceptional. And because of that, not only have I become a best-selling author, have I sold over 2,500 books in just over a year, but the amount of people that have come back and said, wow, you made it, and you made it through that. You really gave me the confidence that I can make it through those experiences that have been drowning me and start using my own experiences of rocket fuel like you did. And that's what, for me, writing your memoir, that's what coming from a position of power in that memoir and really helping people understand how the experience can accentuate and accelerate your life, especially the deepest, darkest ones that you think are meant to knock you down or drown you and keep you underneath that water. I mean, it really will be the difference in you maxing out who you are and your full life potential or living at a fraction of it. And so that journey really showed me that. And that coupled with what I was learning in the Book Publishing Academy, because Stephanie also did really watch all the modules and she just added another brain to it, taught us how to do things, taught us how do we even use social media? I didn't grow up with that. And there's a lot of people out there that's like, I really don't have a big social media following. Neither did I. I think I had like 80 people on my Instagram because as an intelligence officer in the military, we never used it. Yeah. I only had friends and military people on my Facebook, and then it was like this progression and this work and the ability to do the work when nobody was looking that catapulted that success, along with the template and the process that I learned from you on how to get there. So it really was implementation of a process, but more importantly, the consistent long-term execution of that process that led to the results, because it doesn't happen overnight, no matter what anybody says.
It takes being consistent and doing it over and over and over again and over.
And that's not sexy, right? People, 7-minute abs. You could go walk for 1 minute and lose 60 pounds. I mean, there's so many things that are the get rich quick stuff, right? The get results quick stuff. There's nothing that is going to take away from consistent, disciplined effort over an extended period of time. That is not sexy. And that is not what people want, but that is the reality. And you don't get into this game to become a multimillionaire. You get into this game to really serve inside of your purpose and really help people along the way. And by doing that, you start to unlock a happiness you don't even know you miss until you get it. Then you get it, you're like, damn, woo, my whole life I've been missing out on this. Like, I thought I was happy, but now it's next level kind of happy because it's in service of others.
Because you're in your purpose. And what's crazy is when we were in corporate America, we thought we were in our purpose. We thought that's what we were supposed to do. You know what I mean?
I'm a leader. I'm an advisor. Boom, let's go.
To a certain extent, like you said, but we unlocked a whole new level of it when we decided to bet on ourselves and do this at a full-time, like I'm going all in type of level.
You know what's crazy is you can't tap dance around something. It's like, I'm going to lose some weight, right? I'm going to get healthy. Well, I'm going to eat good Monday through Thursday, and then Friday through Sunday, I'm just going to go out. I'm going to eat bad. I'm going to do all these things. You're not going to win like that. And there's so many people because of, lack of confidence and limiting beliefs. And because somebody told them that they would never amount to anything or they're so worried about hurting somebody else's feelings, even though it's their memoir and their lived experience or whatever it is. There's so many people that will make so many excuses for why they're not taking the next step. But really, the next step is what you need to take. And if you think that next step that's going to move you to your purpose is not going to be uncomfortable, then stay in the comfortable misery and pain of where you're at. And that's the reality. I was happy in corporate America. I was making more money than I'd ever made. And I was the most miserable I ever was, even though I loved the development of people and advising and being that leader of leaders. And it was my jam. The mission of what we were doing didn't matter 1% to me. Now being able to do this in a kind of a different way and still lead and advise and help people, but being able to do it within the scope of my purpose and being able to consistently make myself uncomfortable to take the next step I know I need to take to grow in order to be the person that I'm meant to become. It's just, there's just a joy that happens with that. And the more you do it, the more you lean in, the more you realize the benefits of it, the more you see your own growth. And then you don't ever hesitate to run into the unknown again. You just keep running.
Yep.
Without slowing down.
You know what I love too is similar to how you said, like, I went through my childhood stuff because it was part of the story of where I'm supposed to be today, but also corporate America is. God puts us in those situations where we are in high level positions making all this money, but the tools that you learned in corporate America are helping you right now, right? And so it was like everything is planned out and ordained, like just perfectly and laid out perfectly so that you could get to this moment, because I know that is helping you with your success right now, is the fact that you do have leadership experience. You know how to lead a team. You know all of these things. You also spoke and so there's so many things that you learned, and it's like you have all of this in your toolbox. In addition with the Book Publishing Academy and all of the other cool trainings that you've done since, and it's like now I have all this stuff that I've accumulated all over the years, and I can go run with it.
It's like now I'm the package deal. because of those experiences, not in spite of the experiences. And part of my own personal growth is I was so motivated. Part of my childhood, we grew up on the street, and there was a lot of times we didn't eat, except for free lunch at school maybe, and then in the summers we didn't eat. So part of my growth needed to be that money isn't what's going to make me happy. I needed to stop saying I'll be happy when, put anything in there. Right. I'll be happy when we get a better house. I'll be happy when I can pay for my kid to play travel sports and it's not a big deal. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. And when I would achieve those things, I never was happy and fulfilled, because it was always then, okay, now I'm gonna be happy when I get to the next thing. So my childhood and my life built this level of incredible resilience. But when I was done, the door that I was kicking down, because I was right on the precipice of another promotion. I'd been promoted 4 times in 5 years. I was up for another promo. Everybody outside looking in thought I was so lucky, but I was miserable. And I needed to see that the money wasn't what's going to bring me happiness. The remember, or I'll be happy when moment I make this much money wasn't the thing for me. And there was more that my life was meant for than just climbing the corporate ladder. So although it was scary to make the jump, those experiences I needed. And by the way, now I go into corporate America. I'm doing a talk next Tuesday on self-care and maintenance because of my experience having a breakdown in corporate America and needing to wear Captain Resilience on my chest versus understanding that maintenance of who I am as a human being is uber vital to me to be the best for everybody around me too, much less myself. So I needed that experience too, but I needed to be brought to my knees in order to stay still long enough to open my eyes to what was meant for me in the moment. And people are out there and they know, they're feeling the stirring. They're not happy where they're at, but they're staying in the comfortable pain. They know they're meant for more. They just got to get over the fear of going all in and saying, I'm going to bet on me, because ultimately that's what I did. I'm going to bet on me, and I'm going to bet that the way that I see the vision for this is going to actually work. And you know what? It's better than I thought. It's a bigger vision than what I even had initially.
I know, it's so much better. And I also had the same types of fears where it was like, what if I leave this biweekly paycheck? How am I going to pay for these bills? How am I going to make this happen? I promise you guys, if you're listening or watching right now, that God will never leave you like astray during this process. There might have been a couple times where I've been like pretty close to like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you get a little scared, but it's almost like testing you of like, what is your belief system? And do you have faith? Do you trust that he's going to bring you through it? And every single time, not to get preachy with you guys, but God has brought me through it. And so I love that, like how you mentioned, like I took the leap of faith, but it was the most beautiful experience. At times it can be ugly. I'm not gonna lie. It can get dark sometimes. Yeah. But in the end, as you go through the highs and the lows of it, it's an amazing experience.
But the lows are meant to grow you. So those moments when you're thinking, oh my God, this is Come on, where you at, God?
It's a little ghetto
It's
right
not-
now, God.
it's an opportunity for you to lean back and say, am I going to trust or am I not? Because let me tell you what, in this journey, even for me, even now, it still comes in my head sometimes. Should I just go back to corporate America? Because it feels easier because there's more consistency there. But I know for sure I would have regrets that I didn't fulfill my ultimate potential of where I'm supposed to go with this. For what? So I can go make a couple more dollar bills? For, I mean, for that, to not fulfill your potential and your purpose. And so it's going to be scary and people are going to have self-doubt. I just like feel it. It's okay to feel it. For me, it's not like it's went away. I just don't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately smack it up and move it on and run it over and keep looking out the windshield instead of the rear view mirror. So I think that that's important for people, is you're going to have different experiences along the way that are going to challenge your trust, that are going to challenge whether or not you're really invested in this and you're going all in, that are going to challenge whether or not you can get out of your own head in that moment where you're just maybe not quite seeing the results that you wanted to see yet, and just learning how to be happy where you're at, staying present, and keeping the long-term vision of where you want to go ahead, and realizing it's not your time, it's God's time. And if you really trust God's time, you're going to stay the course.
And it's going to be so much better than what you thought.
Amen.
Every single time. It's like, this is
Yeah.
amazing. Well, how many books have you sold so far?
I think I'm 24 something, but I'm going to a Marine base to give a big talk next week, and they're supposed to buy 200. So I should be over 2,500 by then, since February 22nd of 22. And here's the crazy thing. Outside of the first foray, when I was really doing a lot of marketing for it, I've done some big bulk sales too at some talks, but most of it has been from word of mouth. I actually don't post about the book a lot. And there's ebbs and flows of how it's selling, but ultimately it's the word of mouth that is going to help it really catch that fire. And I see a lot of people who want to be speakers or coaches, and they really put out a crappy product because it's about speed to put it out so they can say that they're an author.
Mm-hmm.
Learn to take the time in this journey of being an author. If you pick that book up because you're going to serve somebody who was you years ago, and whatever that is, right? Could be a children's, could be any book. Take the time and do it right. I took extra time on my journey to really do it right, to really work with the editor, to really work with the artist, to go back through, to read my own and edit my own book 4 times before I ever sent it to an editor. Even though my tendency is to want to have urgency and get it done, I resisted the tendency because I said, this is a legacy piece for me. This is my memoir. This thing will be here long after I'm gone. And more importantly, if done right, this thing will help other people change their legacy too. And that's really important on this journey. Put out quality because your name's on it and that's your brand.
You could have said it better. It is your brand. And unfortunately, it happens a lot where, authors will publish their books. They do it with speed, and they do it with, let me save a couple dollars. But saving on a book cover, even with editing, you can tell. And the last thing that you want is a bad review, or for someone to say, I don't really want to purchase their product or whatever it is that they got going on in the future, because I saw their book and their book just didn't wow me like it should have.
Or they purchase it. To me, this is even worse than what you just said. They purchase it and they go, that sucked. Wow. Imagine somebody purchasing your product and they think it sucked because you didn't want to pay for an editor. Imagine, I don't care if you're going to pay $500 for someone to do the artwork for your book. I don't even remember how much I paid now, but I know that Ian took my vision and accelerated it times 100 for my memoir. It was worth every single dime. And you know how many, even when I did 7 different newscasts across the country, morning news shows, and they kept showing it. That's what they were showing, and then people went in and they read it and they're just like, oh man, the tempo and how I read this and the way the story's set up. And those are the things paying a professional help you with. Because I'm proud to say I wrote every single word of my memoir, every word, all 326 pages of it. But what the editor did for me that I couldn't have done is they were able to build pacing So even though I might have had a grammatically correct paragraph, it needed to be broken up into 4 separate sentences because the way you read it just felt different. It sounded different. It warped you in the moment. Don't skimp on your legacy product. This is your legacy product. Don't skimp on it. Pay the money, even if it means you got to go drive for Uber for 2 nights a week for the next month to be able to pay an editor or to be able to pay an artist to do your book. Find a way.
Let's talk about that, because entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur means sometimes you got to do those things. Like, you might have to go drive Uber 5-10 hours a week so that you can pay for something. You might have to do all these extra things. It doesn't mean going back to corporate America, but you might have to cut down on subscriptions like Netflix and things. You have to do certain, you create a budget around whatever it might be. Talk to us a little bit about that journey, because I think sometimes that is not discussed on social media. They just see the glitz and the glamour, but they don't see like the hard work that it took to even get there.
I think first, don't even look at what's on social media when it comes to that stuff, guys, because most people are paying for followers. Most people are paying for comments and likes. People are portraying, I've seen it myself, smoke and mirrors. People are portraying one thing, and behind the scenes, they're broke and they're struggling and they're just trying to act like they're not. And that's because they don't actually give you something that's valuable, right? So they might make money in the short term by showing off. Long term, they're not going to be around. This is about building a legacy and doing something within your purpose for the rest of your life. And so there has been moments in this. I mean, I cut my income by 80%, and my wife doesn't work. She's always supported my career, which is why I did so well in corporate America. So we went from a lot to a little. And so there's times I've had to sell stuff. There's times I've had to even cash in my 401k and pay the percentage of taxes. But do I trust that this is what I'm meant to do? Do I believe in God's timing? And do I believe in my own capability enough that I'm willing to make those really hard decisions in those moments, those scary decisions in the moments, knowing what the outcome is going to be? I'm getting paid more than I got paid in a month in corporate America as an executive to go speak for 1 hour. I'm getting paid thousands of dollars to stand in my office. Next week, I have 2 talks next week. One of them is virtual. Thousands of dollars to stand in my office, just like this, and deliver a talk about self-care, because that's important to me, because I lived what it was like not to have it. Everything you've ever wanted is really waiting for you on the other side of your fear, on the other side of your inability to make yourself uncomfortable, on your other side of, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if I could do that. All those excuses you make, it's time to push all those things to the damn side. And it's time to start focusing on what your vision for your purpose is, and then just going all in. Because what do you really have to lose? A little bit of money that you can go back and make up at some point. But if you don't chase it, what do you have to lose? When you're sitting on your deathbed with your family around you, hopefully, and you're sitting there wondering, I wonder what would have happened if I really would have went all in. I really regret not making that decision to do what I felt the most passionate about. I don't want to live with them regrets. Janine, I know you don't want to live with them regrets. And I know people listening to this, they don't want to live with it. They just need to believe, by listening to people like us and seeing our journeys, that what's for them is waiting for them right now to make these changes.
That's actually my biggest fear in life, is to be on my deathbed wishing that I would have, knowing that I got like 5 minutes left till it's lights out, wishing that I would have written my book, gone skydiving, went to Dubai, like all these things that people get scared of in life. And because that's my biggest fear in life, that pushes me to go do these things. And so, yeah, there are times where I might cry in the process while I do it because I'm so afraid, but we gonna get it done, because the last thing you want is to be on that deathbed. And it's real, guys. Imagine that. Just imagine, like, literally.
I mean, you're never going to regret not continuing to work in corporate America. There's been nobody in the history that was like, I wish I would have worked more. Man, it sucks. I didn't work enough. It's the things that we didn't do that we felt called to do is where our biggest regrets are going to lie. And that's why having conversations like this is so important, because the difference in the choice is whether or not you believe you can do it. If I told anybody listening to this, hey, here's going to be your results. It's going to take you 4 years to get there. You're going to have to start now. Here's going to be your results. but you're going to have everything you thought you were going to have. They would not even hesitate to do it. The scary part and where the fear is at is with the unknown. And do you really believe? And every day you're not going to believe. And then you just, like I said, you smack those little moments up and you drive over them and you keep looking out the windshield, because the success I've had in 2 years has been pretty phenomenal, but it's my life's work of all the, like you said, all the leadership in the military that I did, all the leadership that I did in corporate America, all the times I already ran through fear, my experiences to build resilience and compassion and empathy that I learned as a kid, the lessons I learned from my kids and my wife and my friends along the way, that prepared me to step into my purpose the way that it is now once God opened that door for me. I just had to make the choice to go do it. And that's what this is about, is people making those choices that they're most afraid of.
Believe and go do it. In
Mhm.
spite of all of the thoughts, the self-limiting beliefs that you might have that creep in. You know what has helped me is when I do get those thoughts, I tell myself this thought no longer serves me in this moment. And I literally, it's like reframing. You have to remind yourself, like, hey, this thought it doesn't align with me in this moment. That was from the past. Let's move forward. You have to continue to retrain your mind every single time.
What you think you become, for real.
Yeah.
It seems so simplistic, but that's such a profound statement that I think people miss. And by the way, those affirmations you're talking about, look, I'm a 20-year military guy. I was some bullshit. Like I'm not going to go talk to myself and I am this and I am that. And what I see a lot of people do is they'll do affirmations of things they believe about themselves already. Well, that's easy. You ain't going to grow then. It's what you just said. It's the reprogramming of the negative self-talk that we do. It's the reprogramming of the self-doubt that we all have, to telling yourself why you can do it, how you're going to do it, the I am statements that make you more powerful. And when you say those things you don't believe over a 30-day period, once or twice a day to yourself, you will overcome those things. And then you start to believe it. When you believe it, you start to take some action. You take some action, you get some results. You get some results, your belief increases. You take some action, you get that. Then it's like this beautiful cycle that's like rocket fuel for your life, versus what I see a lot of people do. And they don't necessarily believe, so they don't take action. They don't take action, so they end up living in comfortable misery and pain their entire life at a fraction of who they're meant to be. The difference in this what if question we ask ourselves, and whether or not we go to action, results, and belief and get it and that rocket fuel, or whether we live in quiet desperation with no action, no results, no belief, the difference is making the choice to go all in on that. And the difference is actually just taking action when maybe you don't fully have the belief yet. Belief is only gained through the results, through showing yourself that you can do it. And that's what you're going to do over and over and over again for the rest of your life, like you just talked about. And the results at the end of your life, you're going to look back and say, damn, all those little steps I took along the way are the ones that actually added up to the greatest results. It's the micro steps we took along the way, not the macro jumping points that we had. All the micro things led to the big result that led to more micro things that led to the big result. That's how we have to think about it, because it truly is a journey and there's no destination for it. It's lifelong.
And if you mess up along the way, it's okay, because those mess ups are actually wins. They get you to where you're going. You learn from them, you move forward. I've made multiple mistakes over and over and over.
Yeah.
That got me to my end result because I never gave up. I just kept going.
You're going to mess up, like, know it and be okay sucking at something.
Fail fast.
Remember
Yeah.
my first videos a couple of years ago, I was trying to use a green screen behind me and stuff. And like my shoulders were cut off because every time I moved, my arm disappeared. But I just did it anyway. How was I going to get better at doing anything if I wasn't really to do it and not be great at it at first? Nobody does anything and they're just phenomenal. You got to be able to go through the preseason, to get to the regular season, to get to the playoffs, to get to the Super Bowl and actually win. Know that that's the journey you got to go through.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, football season, girl.
What advice would you give to someone if they are looking to become an author, a speaker, take the leap of faith? What advice would you give them?
Do it. Straight up, the Nike thing, right? I want you to really sit back, and I want you to, we talked about what if a second ago. I want you to think about all the times that you asked yourself, what if? And you allowed that lack of confidence and the limiting beliefs, what somebody else said to you. Why would you do that? Like, you need to go work. That's safer. You got a family. I want you to really ask yourself, what if, and think about all the times you didn't take the action. And I want you to think about how you felt when you didn't. And then I want you to think about the times, because we've all taken action in spite of the fear. Think about what if. I want you to take a breath, pick your chest up, pick your chin up. And I want you to think about all the potential opportunities that are waiting for you in your life if you're willing to be uncomfortable and you're willing to run through the fear into the unknown, into the abundance and light that's waiting for every single one of us, whatever that moment is that we're chasing. I want you to think about all the possibilities. And every time you ask what if, and you're over here in possibility land, you're over here in the vision and the dream, and you're getting ready to take that action and execute a game plan. And you start thinking about, what if it doesn't work? I want you to push that what if it doesn't work out. And I want you to start asking yourself, what if it does? What if all your dreams and your purpose and your hope and the impact you want to make is actually waiting for you after the one decision you're going to make after this? And everybody's going to think about one thing. And this, listening to this, you're going to think about one thing that you've been having that what if moment about. And I want you to go down the journey that's going to give you rocket fuel to change not only your life, ultimately it will change other people's. You might just not even know that yet. Mm-hmm. So don't deny somebody else the chance to be the best that they can be, because you had the fear and lacked the courage to do it for yourself. Your abundance and your joy and your happiness and your entire life is waiting for you on the other side of this choice that you got to make. Just make the one that gives you the rocket fuel. That's all I would say.
This is good. This is some good stuff. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a true pleasure, as always. I feel like we can continue. We probably could continue this for like 3 more hours because we be going deep. But I want to thank you so much, and I am just truly, truly, first of all, honored that we were able to help you with your book, and I can't wait to see what the future holds because you're doing some amazing things. I know that you got a lot of things under your belt that you're working on that you're going to announce soon, hopefully. But I just want to thank you so much with so much gratitude. Thank you, Walt, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's been such a blessing just to be able to call you a friend, to watch your own growth, and just to celebrate you and the impact you're making on the people, not only that join the book Publishing Academy, but the people who know you. You're such a light. And I'm just glad to know that you're in my circle of influence and I can call you a friend. So thank you for everything and all your help. And I appreciate you and I love you, my friend.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. We will see you next time. Bye.
See you guys.